Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to another video here. We're today kind of reacting, talking about the college football playoff rankings came out yesterday, and this will be my rankings. Considering doing that for another video later today, but just kind of going over, talking about how I how I feel deep inside about these rankings. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Starting off at number 25, Pittsburgh. Overall, I have no problems with that. And that's what it's like for the most part. For most of these rankings, I don't have a problem with spots and where they are. It's like Pittsburgh, more than fine with it being there. I think just because they lost this last game doesn't mean they're officially done, and I don't think it means that Kenny Pickett is officially out of the Heisman race. I think he's still a legitimate contender, though I think Kenneth Walker is kind of starting to run away with it. But yeah, I'm overall. I think Pittsburgh as a team, I'm more than fine with them being at 25. I got pretty much really just no complaints there. Then at 23 and 24, Fresno State and San Diego State, which I really do like because I go to a Mountain West Conference school, so I am happy to see that there's some recognition. While they are the only two teams there, I am more than happy. To be honest, I didn't have them this high personally, but I'm happy someone else did. So yeah, I like San Diego State and Fresno State being this high. I don't like that we're going to lose to them, San Diego State specifically. Actually, have we already? We might have already lost to them. I don't remember. We suck. But yeah, overall, I'm happy with these two getting some recognition in the college football playoffs, and I don't think they'll get much higher than this. Maybe if one of them wins out, get up to here. Maybe, but we'll see. Now, this is my first big problem. Number 22, Iowa. Just a couple weeks ago, they were number 2 in the country, and now they're at 22. I love Wisconsin. Wisconsin's one of my 3 schools that I cheer for. We're not that good. We're really... Wisconsin should not have dropped Iowa. Well, like, it's not that disrespectful. What I'm saying is, it's not that disrespectful to lose to Wisconsin. Okay? Like, Iowa should not have fallen 12 spots just because they lost to us. Honestly, kind of feel a little disrespected by that. Because I still think, honestly, I still think they should be ranked higher than Wisconsin. I think they should be ranked higher than Minnesota. Now, when you get to, like, on NC State as well, I believe that when you get to Kentucky, Mississippi, Ole Miss in here, that's when you can start to have some, at least in my opinion, that's when I start to have, okay, this would be about where they would be. But yeah, Iowa I think is a little too low. I do think it's a little disrespectful to have Iowa this low. Then Wisconsin, yeah, I really love Wisconsin, and I think they were a little disrespected in the AP poll for not being ranked. I have them ranked even higher than this. Again, little bit of bias, but their 3 losses were to, like, Penn State week 1, which was still a very close game, and don't forget Penn State was at one point ranked in the top 10. We have lost to Notre Dame, who is ranked in the top 10. We have lost to Michigan, who is ranked in the top 10. Like, that's our 3 losses. Then I get our 5 wins. Maybe not be the most beautiful things, but it includes 2 top 25 teams. So Wisconsin, I do feel like at 21 is about right. I love it a lot. I love that the College Football Playoff Committee put them in here. AP poll, be better, man. Minnesota, again, someone else who I don't think has cracked the AP poll. Again, AP poll, get it together. But yeah, they're 6-2. I believe they are currently first in the Big Ten West, is what it would be. But yeah, really, what it's going to come down to for the Big Ten West is these two right here. Their final game would be my guess, because Wisconsin should be able to win out their remaining games. Minnesota, I believe they will as well, up until this game, where I think Wisconsin will win. But yeah, I think the Big Ten West got, like, nowhere near the East. But I do think it'll be interesting for me to watch as a Big Ten Wisconsin fan. It'll be interesting for me to watch. But again, I'm happy Minnesota made it top 20. I think Wisconsin's better. But again, I have no arguments with that. Really, the only big one so far for me is Iowa at 22. But outside of that, I'm fine with the other five. NC State, at 19, I'm fine with it. I maybe have them personally two spots ish lower, 2-3 spots. So, but around the same range. I again, no problems with this one. Yeah, no, they're in here at 19. Kentucky, Mississippi State, the head-to-head favoring Mississippi State, even though they do have a 5-3 record, still trumps the head-to-head trumps that, which it makes sense. I like to. That's one thing I'm happy with is this committee is the consistency as a week one, because you have the head-to-head here, head-to-head trump that, head-to-head here, future head-to-head. But then, technically head-to-head between Michigan State and Michigan, Oregon, Ohio State. So I like that consistency. I really do. The only one where I think it really truly isn't Cincinnati, Notre Dame, but like Alabama, Texas A&M. But like, come on, those are givens. Yeah, no, I do like that. I honestly didn't realize Mississippi State was this good. But I understand. I knew they were good. Would have had them a little lower though. But I understand the reasoning there, and I'm not overly upset with it. That's one I don't really have a problem with. Ole Miss coming off a loss, I understand it. I get it. Again, I think they're better. I don't like BYU a whole lot. Almost lost to Virginia, though a very fun game. That game, loved watching. But BYU, I don't think really is a top 15 team. I think because your goal at the end of the day is to find the top 4 teams, and top 25, with the goal of the top 4, and then have the rest of them in order. And I however you determine that with head to head, a strength of schedule, and make sure the eye test, all those putting together, and the record. I think I don't like BYU is my next problem being that high. I have them significantly lower, as you'll see later in a different video. But yeah, BYU I do believe should be a little bit lower than this. But again, it's not the biggest thing. Iowa being higher is more of a problem for me than BYU being this high. But I like Ole Miss. I think that I put them right here, but that's just me. Moving on, Texas A&M, Auburn. I believe they're playing this week, so that would. I think that's Baylor. Learn how to read. I think it might be able to boost one of them ahead, depending on how well. Depending on how well these two teams do. But an important one. No matter who wins, maybe not. Actually, it's not really that important, but. It still should be a fun game. I'm excited to see that, but again, no problems with the rankings here. Like both 2-loss teams, A&M with the win over Bama. So I personally maybe would give the edge to A&M, but no real big complaints here as I have had in the past with these guys. Then it's a couple of Big 12 teams, 1-loss Big 12 teams. Happy to see them both here. I like Oklahoma State, liked them a bit more last year. But this year, they've done well. They've done well. They deserve to be 11. Same thing with Baylor. They've played very well. They deserve to be 12. I have no complaints here. Notre Dame at 10. Can you top 10 here? Notre Dame, no, I don't think you can rank them any lower. Don't think you can really rank them any higher. So again, 10, perfect. Undefeated Wake Forest at 9. I think this is about where they'll top off, unless something happens soon to one of these teams in here. Like the only way Wake Forest gets higher really is a team ahead of them loses. Just due to their schedule alone, you're not going to raise them. But them at 9, I like that over Notre Dame. I think they're very close because Wake Forest is undefeated. I got no problems giving them the edge there. Now the disrespect to Oklahoma, I have like, well, the disrespect to Oklahoma and the over respect, I would say, to Michigan. Like, that's like, in the end, like, it doesn't matter how well it looks. So you got a 0 there. They are winning. So I this is my problem number 2. I don't, because for me, when I'm ranking things, I was thinking like just personally just tiers more or less. And like how I break it down for this is Georgia, that's tier 1, and then 2 through 7, personally, is that next kind of group, and there's a slight drop off, I believe, at least in my rankings, from 7 to 8, which is switching these two. Like, Michigan has looked good this year, and Oklahoma has looked shaky, I will admit. But Oklahoma should be ranked higher than Michigan. They just should. They're looking better as of late. And not necessarily, not saying that in direct reference to better than Michigan, but over the course of the season, Oklahoma struggled at first with Spencer Rattler. Connor Williams came in, and they look a whole lot better. Okay, that game against Texas was their last, at least to my knowledge, their last big near loss incident. They blew out Texas Tech last week, which again, my third of the 3 teams I cheer for. The third is UNM, my great school, UNM. But yeah, Oklahoma, I think they're a really good team. Their defense leaves some to be desired, but overall 9-0. They're winning. I'm not questioning it. Whereas Michigan, hey, I haven't liked Michigan that much this year. I liked them. I think they're better than Wake Forest and Notre Dame, but I don't think they're better. Like they're in their own little. We're talking about tier. Like talking about tiers. I think they're in their own little tier. Just like Georgia has their own big tier, Michigan has their own little one between my 2 through 7 and my 9 and 10. But again, it is only one spot, but we tend to care more the closer we get to the top. Like down here, I don't really care about one spot. Whereas when you get up here, one spot matters a lot. So personally, I would switch these two. Other than that, I'm fine with Michigan being ranked this high. I'm fine with them not falling that much, especially the respect that they're giving to Michigan State. Just I would have Oklahoma a little bit higher. But enough about Oklahoma. My biggest problem personally is Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati should have been number 3. I think they should have been in it. I really genuinely do believe so. I can understand. I have why I would think they're this low. Like the strength of schedule is like 100th. I believe like they play one game, but like they beat Notre Dame, who you have in the top 10, which for a non-Power 5 school is really as much as you like. It's not necessarily their fault. Their competition isn't great. But, like, with Cincinnati, like, if you were to use the eye test on Cincinnati, to me, they've looked better than Michigan. They've looked better and a little bit more consistent than Michigan State has. Both have had their little hiccups. But I think Cincinnati's best has looked better than Michigan State's best, especially considering Cincinnati's best, I think, might have been their win over Notre Dame. Where Michigan State's best, you got some to choose from. Like the second half of the Michigan game, but that's the second half. I like Cincinnati a lot, and I may be a little biased in trying to get a group of 5 team in. But I would personally have them in, I would have them in the playoffs. I also do think that literally 2 through 6 and Oklahoma could be 2 through 7. Like if you put Oklahoma at 2, I could justify it. I would not be overly upset. Sorry, I said enough about Oklahoma already. But Oregon, Ohio State, I like it. I do think Ohio State, as of recently, has looked like the better team, but Oregon beat them. So that's on you, Ohio State. Oregon does deserve to be ranked higher. Next time, just win, and this won't be a problem. You'd probably be number 2 if you just hadn't lost. But yeah, no, Oregon still is a very good team. Ohio State, like Kayvon Thibodeau, their defense is looking nice. Their offense, I guess both have had their little ups and downs, but overall they're winning games except for against 3-5 Stanford, which, if you want to talk about strength of losses, Ohio State has the advantage over 3-5 Stanford. Anyway, again, no complaints here. I fully understand why Oregon is ahead of Ohio State. I agree. 3, Michigan State. I'm fine with it, but I would have Cincinnati higher, which would then, of course, knock them down a little bit. But as of ahead of Oregon and Ohio State, I get it. First of all, Michigan State is undefeated in Big Ten, playing against Big Ten competition. I fully get it. They beat Michigan in a great. Okay, it was a very great game. And Michigan is still a very good team. I don't have Michigan State's remaining schedule memorized, but I will say I haven't been. Kenneth Walker has impressed me week in and week out. Outside of that, there's been I have a couple, just the inconsistent. If we were to pull up, let me see here. Hopefully nothing bad pops up during that. It's come on, work. Is this all of them? I guess that is all of them. This, good. Good. You're supposed to do that. Good. Not quite good. I get, Nebraska is not bad. Okay, they're, where are they? That's the it's Youngstown State. Nebraska is currently, they're 3-6, which isn't great. But I do think I would have preferred the number 3 team didn't only win by 3 against Nebraska. And then Western Kentucky, letting up 31 little. Rutgers, you did well. Indiana 5, not bad. This one, well done. Well done. Give you all the credit for this one. But yeah, I think in the end, I will come back to this. Everything will work itself out. Okay. First, these two will more than likely play. Okay, in the SEC championship, they will more than likely play. Oregon, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they lose a game before either the Pac-12 championship or right before that. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. Wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. I'm going to lean on the side of they won't. But again, wouldn't be surprised. Just because that's what the Pac-12 seems to do. Just beat up on each other. But yeah, then Michigan State, Ohio State will play. So honestly, I feel if I'm Cincinnati, I'm not overly upset here. Because if Cincinnati, let me just, sorry, I will have these memorized at some point. It's right there, okay. So Cincinnati just wins out, which shouldn't be that difficult. Come on, work. Thank you. Yeah, if they their hardest game will be against SMU, right? I think that's outside of that. If they went out, I would not be too concerned, because I think if Alabama loses to Georgia in the conference championship and you went out, I think you get the edge over Alabama. I think the most ideal situation is Michigan State beats Ohio State. That knocks that will bump you up to 5 at the time. And then if Oregon loses a game, which they very well, you need 2 losses if you're Cincinnati with these teams ahead of you, except for Georgia. You need Georgia to win. From 2 to 5, you need 2 of those teams to lose once, and you are more than likely in. The only exception being maybe Michigan State. I think if Michigan State loses, there's an argument they can stay at 4 if they lose to Ohio State. Granted, then Oregon will also. If you're Cincinnati, you need preferably Michigan State and Oregon to lose. Well, really, really, you need Oregon to lose. We'll start there. Oregon would be the biggest help if they lost. And then either Alabama, Michigan State, or Ohio State doesn't particularly matter. Yeah, Michigan State. Oh, yes. Get just so sidetracked. I don't remember what I was saying about Michigan State. Really, I don't think they should be 3. I understand I would have them in. Drop down a spot. But as for 1 and 2, yeah. Like, Georgia's looked like the best team. I think. Last I saw something that said like they scored over 100 points without giving up under 40 total points. So yeah. And Alabama, outside their 1 loss, again, I do rely on the eye test, and when it comes down to tight races like this, for me it's just okay, who has looked the best, and it's Alabama. Outside of their loss to Texas A&M, they have looked like the number 1 team. I mean, they looked about the same level as Georgia. But because of that 1 loss, they do get placed second. I do think they are the second best team in college football. Because again, at the end of the day, that's the goal: is to find, let's say, who's the top 4 teams. I believe Alabama's the second best. But thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please hit the like button and consider subscribing. Thank you all very much. See you later. Adios.